Joining us from the Waterloo, Ontario area is Dr. David Millard Haskell. He wears a lot of different hats. He's a former journalist, a sociologist at Wilfrid Laurier University, and the author of a new book called Christ or Collapse: The Case Against Godless Government. Great to have you with us today, David.
Yeah, well, thank you very much for having me.
Oh, you bet. And the book apparently is doing well on Amazon, also available at collegepress.com, so that's good to hear. I mean, I found the book very bold, thought-provoking, definitely that, and it's divided into like 4 parts, and you can get, I guess, individual parts as individual books. But can you give us like a brief snapshot of what you're trying to communicate to readers?
For me, I had been a sociologist, and I'll just let you know right now, I'd been I poo-pooed traditional Christian values. I'm talking about a decade ago. And I thought that they were really something to be relegated to the dustbin of history. But then as a sociologist of religion, I began looking at these things, and it seemed that every area where our society was slowly going into ruin, it was where it had rejected what we call the traditional Christian values. And so I looked at study after study. I even conducted my own. And every time it turned out that the extent to which someone embraced Christian norms and values was the extent to which they found individual or even societal flourishing. And I said, okay, this has to be talked about. And so this book, Christ or Collapse, really takes that empirical evidence and says, we have a choice. We can take these ideas that have been around for 2,000 years and we can begin implementing them again, or we continue on the road to social and cultural ruin.
Okay. I mean, again, so people hearing you, they might be thinking, okay, here's a guy who probably wants Canada to be officially Christian, right? But you're not advocating for a forced religious society, are you? You're kind of thinking more, as I went through parts of the book here, it's more valuable, as you would put it, to restore, advance traditional conservatism. Can you unpack that a bit for us?
And thank you for that question, because really, this is not about a religious revival, although I'm going to out myself, and I do in the book. I'm a Christian, right?
Yeah.
But I'm saying in the book, let's make not a leap of faith, but instead a leap of logic. I'm going to show you the evidence, and then you should follow it. But I package it all under the notion of a political philosophy, not a religious revival. And this political philosophy, I'm calling it traditional conservatism. Now, traditional conservatism, it has been around since the earliest days of the founding of the West. And simply put, traditional conservatism is the norms and values of Christianity applied to governance. Now, this isn't anything new, right? This is a restoration. And in chapter 2 of the book, for example, I go through all of the legislation from the early foundings of Canada and the United States. I go through court cases and the legal procedures. And it was very clear that the founders of these countries intended for the norms and values of Christianity to be worked out in the laws of the land. So now that we've moved away from that, really beginning in the 1960s, this is the aberration. This is something that we've never done before, and we're paying the price. And so just to get back to your point, I'm not advocating a theocracy. I'm not advocating a theocracy. We have those today in Muslim majority countries, and I say that's not a model to follow. The model to follow instead is to convince people through evidence and then let them make their own rational choice.
Okay, and your book is full of all kinds of studies, lots of them. So there's you can look at the facts there and make your own decisions. So it's just tons and tons of different studies.
Christ or Collapse is available in print, ebook, and audiobook. Available from publisher College Press, Amazon, and other major retailers.